Hello everybody. Today in this video, we're going to try to answer a question: where should we open a new restaurant? Okay. Let's say we want to open a new eating joint, and this thing is going to be totally awesome. Everyone's going to love it. They're going to come out of the woodwork for this thing. But where do we set it up? There's all kinds of factors that we need to consider. Foot traffic, how many people are going to walk by this potential new location every day? Is there going to be a lot in the morning, afternoon, evening? Is it consistent? Does it change over time? Is this a touristy type of destination? Are people always coming and going? Are we going to be close to a college campus or a convention center or a who knows what? It could be a NFL stadium, MLB stadium, NBA for basketball, right? Or close to an airport, or just something not even in these kind of concentrated centers, maybe something a little bit more suburban. So there's a lot of factors to consider when determining when we can open a new restaurant or hotel. It could be any kind of business, right? It could be anything, literally. I'm just going to show you how to do this type of analysis and how to interpret the output of this. Finding the best locations is mission critical. That's number one. You don't want to invest a lot of money building the enterprise or the location for your enterprise, and then it doesn't pay off, or you have a lot of debt or overhead that you didn't expect. So you want to do a full comprehensive analysis before you even break ground in this thing. Okay, and we're going to look at different things like foot traffic, demographic analysis, competitive analysis, accessibility, any kind of local regulations that we have to take into account. The local economy, things like that. So there's a lot of factors that need to be considered. Now, I did look for data online. I didn't really find anything that's super relevant to this type of thing. I think a lot of it is confidential. Companies do this analysis, or they have specialists that go out and somehow find this data. I could not find it, so I created a small data set of my own, just using Python's random uniform number generating sequence here. But this is all legitimate data. I wish the data set was bigger. I'll show you at the end, if I had access to more data, what I would do and what you could do too. But again, this is just to illustrate the point of how to look at different locations, how to quantify the the importance of opening a restaurant or hotel or whatever type of business you're considering opening in different areas, right? So we're going to create the data set, and then we're going to do some plots in the data. So these are the things I'm looking at here. Location ID. Okay, we're going to have 1,000 locations, longitude, latitude, foot traffic score. So this is super important. Like I was just mentioning, the number of people walking by this location is going to be very important, right? You want high traffic, high visibility, exposure, right? These types of things. You want to know the average income. How well off are the people with in the local area? Do they have a lot of disposable income, or do they not have a lot, right? So if money's pretty tight, you're not gonna have a lot of people going to your restaurant. If money's flowing like the mighty Mississippi, you're gonna have a lot of disposable income, a lot of people looking to spend it in all kinds of places, right? Number of competitors on the local scene, right? Or do you want to put your Burger King right across the street from an existing McDonald's, if McDonald's is already operating on that street corner? Do you want to go right across the street? Really depends. Maybe there's enough business for both. Maybe that's going to be a suicidal type of decision, right? And then regulations. There can be all kinds of local regulations that you have to take into account too. So these are the variables that we're looking at. I wish I had real data. I don't, but it's good enough for purposes here. So I'm going ahead, creating the data frame, and then plotting the data. Here's the raw data right here. This is what it looks like. This is very useful, very interesting. But I really want to see some plots of the data. A picture is worth 1,000 words. If you can plot it and see how things look, what the distribution of the data is, and visually inspect it, that's a lot more meaningful, I think, than just looking at the raw data, right? So that's what this view gives us. So we have frequency. This is the number of counts, and foot traffic score, and average income. So we see pretty good distribution here, pretty even. Actually, it's very even. It's not even normalized. It's very, very, pretty much even over the x-axis. It's foot traffic and average income, right? Like the counts are on the y-axis, and the foot traffic and the average income are the x-axis, right? So everything's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and do an analysis here. I'm going to share all the data in the source data where this is coming from right at the end of this, video. I'm going to put this file online when I post the video, so you can copy paste this. You can run this in your own Jupyter notebook environment. It's going to run totally fine. It runs fine for me. It'll do the same for you. I'm not going to run it right now because it does take a little bit to run it. I ran just before starting this video. I thought it was going to be pretty fast, but I'm glad I held off before I hit the record button because it actually took over 5 minutes. I want to pause the video. I just do these straight through. I don't do any editing whatsoever. It's just impromptu. So this does take a while to run. I'm not going to rerun it, but yeah, I ran this just before I jumped into the video here. So let's see what the output is. We do a Folium plot after reading this Shapley data. So this is a file. Let me share the source with you. You can go ahead and download it. This is a shapefile that has all the counties, all kinds of information about latitude, longitude, coordinates, all kinds of geographical information. That's important for this because you have to know, like, geographically speaking, like where are we located, right? It's not just the latitude, longitude, coordinates. We want to plot this on the Plotly map. There's a few different ways to plot this data. Plotly is nice. I'm sorry, Folium. We're using a Folium map in this case. Plotly is another one. That's an alternative way to do this. So Plotly has its own maps. That's very nice too. I like both. I don't know if I have a preference for one or the other, but they're both nice. They both do a great job. So let's move down here a little bit. So everything for my data set was located in San Francisco, or the Bay Area. Anyway, so here we have a map of the Western United States. One thing I love about these Folium maps, you can zoom in and see extreme detail here, right down to the street level. Let's zoom in a little bit further, more and more and more. I lived in San Francisco many years ago, so I forgot some of it, but I used to know these streets pretty well. But it's pretty cool here. Let's go to down to the financial district. These Plotly maps, or I keep mispronouncing it, Folium map, gives you some extreme detail. You can see the city streets, the names. If a street is one way, you can see local parks, addresses, and so on and so forth. So this is a pretty nice way of visually rendering the data. Let's zoom out a little bit and see what the analysis shows us. So if I zoom all the way out, we're actually clustering these 10 business locations, right? So if I zoom all the way out, I can see all 10. If I zoom in a little bit, we start to see the breakout. So this area right here, this geographical region, has 3 clusters. If I click on that, I can zoom in and see all 3. Here's one with foot traffic and the location code. Here's foot traffic again, location code. So high foot traffic, that's why these are being recommended as the top 10 locations to open a business. High foot traffic over here. And zoom in a little bit more, and let's see what this thing is. It's right on the edge of a park here. Okay. Open space, Show Ridge, open space. What's this one over here? Again, we're in a park here. It looks like more of a suburban area, maybe. Let me zoom in a little bit here and see what's going on here. Morgue Way. Okay, so anyways, we have the recommendations here of where to locate the restaurant based on the foot traffic that we calculated, right? And here's another one down here. Yep, high foot traffic again. And we're looking at the income levels or income distribution for this data set too. So here's another potential location. So anyways, very interesting type of analysis based on foot traffic, based on income, based on geographical region. What's the recommended place to put this new establishment? Right here, I believe this is actually right on the edge of a golf course. Yeah, that's a golf course there. Remember that. So there it is. I'm going to share all this code. You can pick through it. You can do your own analysis. You can copy paste it, run it. It's going to run perfectly fine. Overall, I would say to do a more robust analysis, you really need more features in your data set. We have a handful here. Again, I looked for something interesting. I couldn't find anything that really jumped out at me, so I just created my own data set randomly and dynamically, and that works. It could be done much better, and if you had access to data like population densities, income levels, age distributions. Well, we did have income, um, education, and occupation, competitive landscape. Like who's there right now operating? Is there a Chipotle? Is there a McDonald's? Is there a Taco Bell? Competitive advantage. Are you the first mover? Traffic and accessibility. We did look at that, foot traffic. Other things that would be great. Real estate trends. Is a neighborhood gentrifying? Is it becoming more and more wealthy? Are more wealthy individuals moving there? Property prices, or the increasing, decreases, zoning and regulations, any cultural lifestyle nuances, or sort of preferences that we need to consider. That would be interesting to have that. Any site-specific factors. Again, is this a tourist destination? Is this close to a sports center where you can have a lot of basketball fans or football fans going through there? That's important. Any kind of space requirements. Are there constrictions or restrictions, or some kind of constraint to operating your business there? That's things that you want to know about too, right? The more comprehensive your data set, the more comprehensive the analysis. Any type of current economic conditions, is it coming improving, not improving? Any kind of specific customer preferences, or is it very diverse? Any supply chain logistics. If you're located way out in the middle of nowhere, that's probably not a good place to open a business, right? Just to get your raw materials to the location, or just to have any customers at all, it's probably a non-starter, right? And then long-term sustainability of the area, of the geographical region. So these are all things that we should be aware of. This is where I download the shapefile from. So again, that has all kinds of geographical analytics in that file, and you really need that to do the plots in the Folium app and to do the really comprehensive analysis of the foot traffic, of the disposable income of these customers, and so on and so forth. So very interesting type of analysis. It works. It does exactly what we expect. The only thing I would say is to have a more robust data set would be preferred. Mine was somewhat limited here in this case, but the more features you have to feed into these models and to do the training and testing and do the predictive analytics, then overall the better the outcome. But it does run as is. You can copy and paste the code. I'm going to share all this source code with the video as soon as I post it. I'll probably do it later today. Thanks for your time. Have a great day, everybody.